يا صباح الفل، ازيكم عاملين ايه؟ How are you all doing guys? Hope you're doing fantastic. Welcome again to a new 5 مع رمضان video and thank you for joining our little journeys for not only learning عربي مصري but enjoying it. Today inshallah we're continuing our journey for learning الأبجدية العربية, the Arabic alphabet. If you didn't watch part 1 yet, it's of course very recommended that you watch it first. I'll try to leave the link in the description or here, try to find it out. So quick reminder, what was the common thing for the first group? If you remember, we said we have alif by itself, and then we have 3 sisters, ba, ta, tha, and then we have 3 more sisters, which is jim, ha, and kha, right?
And today inshallah we'll move to المجموعة الثانية, the second group. And to be easier for you, I want you to remember that المجموعة الثانية, they are all twins. So you remember المجموعة الأولى, the first group, we had alif and then 3 sisters and 3 sisters, right? ba, ta, tha, jim, ha, kha. Starting from today, they will be twins only. 2 sisters, one without dot and the second one with 1 or more dots, as you see here. So it is very recommended that you study them as pairs because actually they are pairs. And let's read them quickly before we start just to know how to say each letter. دال ذال راء زين سين شين صاد ضاد طاء ظاء عين غين. طيب تمام, as usual, let's take each of them individually, practice how to write it, and take some examples. أمثلة. طيب, let's talk about the first 4 together. دال ذال راء زين, because somehow they are close in shape. I want you to be very focused and see how we write them. Also, I really recommend that you get your notebook and you start practice with me. This is how you master them. The first pair for tonight are dal and dal. So let's see how to write dal. Very simple, you just have to make this angle. Also, very important note, dal and dal, they go over the line. And dal is exactly the same, we're just gonna put the dot on the top. Alright, cool. So now we're good when it comes to the shapes of dal and dal. So what about the sounds? And also let's take some amthila, some examples. طيب, as we agreed from the beginning that the sounds of the letters in Arabic are pretty straightforward. That means it all starts how the name of this letter starts. For example, this letter, dal, so the sound of dal is d, d, same as the D in English, for example. طيب, مثال لحرف الدال. Dal as in the word dub. Dub. Dub means bear. And if you're wondering to ask me, okay, Muhammad, where is the O? You said dub, right? Quickly, we mentioned it in the previous episode that this is a short vowel, tashkil. Here we supposedly will put damma on the top of the dal just to sound as dub. It's not very long. It's not dub. Very fast. Dub. And as you noticed here, we didn't connect dal from the left, right? That means dal is our second friend from the 6 letters that we never connect from the left. We mentioned that in the golden rules of connections, right? So if you're still confused about them, straight after this video, go back and recap it. It's very important. تمام. طيب, مثال تاني for dal, another example. Dal as in the word adab. Adab. Be careful, this word adab is very important because it has 2 different meanings. The first one, it means politeness. If someone is polite, this is adab. Also, the same word, same spelling, same everything, it means literature. So, al-adab as a form of art is the literature. طيب, تمام. Hopefully it's going smooth with you because if you noticed, all of those letters we spoke about before. Alif and dal and ba. It will be slow in the beginning, that's totally fine, but I just care now that you get the logic, you know? طيب, let's move now to the sister of dal, which is dhal. Dhal. You see, I have to put my tongue out to pronounce it correct. Dhal. It is the same sound as in English when you say there or that. طيب, أمثلة for dhal. Dhal as in the word dhura. Dhura. Dhura means corn. Same, it's supposed to have dhamma on the top. Dhura. Also, dhal in the middle, very important word. Tadhkara. Tadhkara. Tadhkara means ticket. Tadhkara. And also, as you noticed here, we didn't connect dhal from the left. right? It makes sense, same as the sister. So always put in mind that all the pairs, they will follow the same rules and the same shape when we connect them. So that means so far we covered 3 letters out of the 6 that they never connect from the left. Last episode we spoke about alif, and today dal and dal so far. Type, now let me tell you very important note about dal. Since this channel is mainly about Masri, you have to put in mind that any letter that you put your tongue out in Fusha, in slang it will be simplified. It will not be pronounced with the tongue out. We said it once before with the letter Tha in the first group, if you remember. So, same story. طيب, usually in slang, the people pronounce Dal as Dal, as the twin sister. So, for example, here, the word Dora, it will be pronounced, can you take a guess? Yes, Dora. So, Dora in Fusha, in Masri, it is Dora. But, and that's the confusing part, I'll be honest with you. In some other words, Dal in Masri, it is pronounced as Z, as normal Z, without the tongue out. Same as the word ticket here, that's why I got it on purpose. Usually in Masri, the people pronounce it Tazkara, without the tongue out. So you see, you'll find a lot of examples for both of them. For example, in my mind now, the word dhira', which means arm, with dal, dhira', in slang it is dira', it becomes da. However, for example, the word dhaki, which means smart, in slang it is zaki. And of course, now the logical question will be, how would I know in Masri when to pronounce it da and when to pronounce it just za? And the answer, you will get it with experience, because there is no rule for it, unfortunately. You'll know it only with time. That's why I always advise my students in the beginning, pronounce it normally as Fusha. Put the tongue out. So say it dhira', dhura', dhaki, and so on, to avoid any confusion. Make sense? طيب, تمام so far. Hopefully everything is clear now about dal and dal. And let's move to the next pair, which are ra and zain or zay. طيب, first of all, how to write ra? It's kind of half circle, so you have to make it like that. And very important note here, you remember dal, we said it's over the line always. Now ra, it has to go under the line. And for the sister zay or zain, by the way, the two names are correct. Zain is more common in Masri though. It is the same shape, just with one dot on the top. طيب, the sound for ra, as you can hear me, it's ra. It's rolling R. Same as in the word rab. Rab. You see how I roll my tongue? Rab. Rab means God. Or at the end, as in the word bahr. Bahr. Bahr means sea. I'm trying always to bring you words with letters we covered already, if you noticed. So focus and try to read, okay? Alright, what about the sister? It's called Zay or Zain. As I told you, Zain is more common in Masri. Sound-wise, as normal, Z. Z. No tongue out, nothing. طيب, أمثلة. Zain as in the word zibda. Zibda. Zibda means butter. By the way, in Fusha, it's pronounced zubd. مثال تاني, another example. Gazar. Gazar. Gazar means carrots. Obviously, in Fusha, it will be jazar. So, jazar or gazar. And hopefully you noticed as well that ra and zain, the two of them, they never connect from the left. So that means we covered already 5 out of the 6 that they never connect from the left. Only 1 to go, which will be the next lesson, inshallah. طيب, now to take a little pause and also to do muraja, always recap, let's try to fill our table with the 4 letters we covered so far. The first pair we covered were dal and dal, right? So let's start. The name of the letter was dal, equivalent to D in English. Amthila, we said dub, means bear, and also adab, which can mean 2 things, either politeness or literature. And the sister was dhal with the tongue out, same as the th in English. Mithal for dhal, we said so many as dhura, which means corn, or tadhkara, which means ticket. Quick reminder, we said in Masri it will be pronounced either dal or za, depends on the word. The next pair were ra and zain or zay. The first one, ra, same as the R in English, but with more rolling sound, ra. مثال for ra, we said رب. رب means God, and also بحر. بحر means sea. The sister of ra is zay or zain, the same sound as z in English. أمثلة for zain we said زبدة. زبدة means butter, and also جزر or جزر, which means carrots. تمام, those were the first four in المجموعة الثانية, the second group. Before we move on, I really recommend if you go grab a sandwich or a quick coffee or something, just to take a quick pause and then continue the video. تمام? Well, since he's still here, so let's move to our next four for our group today. And also, I prefer if you study them together because somehow they are close in shape. And let's quickly know how to pronounce each of them. Seen, sheen, and the next pair, sod, dod. Yalla, let's start with seen and sheen and see how we can write them. Seen. Seen, it's quite easy. I'll just make those 3 tips, and from the last one I'll go under the line. So yalla tani, 1, 2, 3, seen. And as you hear it, the sound of seen is just sa, same as the s in English. أمثلة for seen. Seen as in the word سحر. سحر. سحر means magic. سحر. Again, quickly, just to make it clear for you, supposedly under the scene there is little kasra here to make the s sound, سحر. But as we mentioned, we'll speak about tashkil and the long movements and the short movements in a separate video, okay? يلا مثال تاني, another example. Seen in the middle as in the word أستاذ. أستاذ. أستاذ means teacher and also can be used as a title, Mr. As you see here, أستاذ ends with ذال, the letter we just spoke about. In Masri, it will be pronounced أستاذ, simplified to Z. As we said, it has 2 options. So in this word, usually it will be pronounced أستاذ in Masri. And as I mentioned, I can use it to a teacher, أستاذ Muhammad. Also, I can use it as a title, أستاذ Muhammad, أستاذ Ahmed, like Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Ahmed, and so on. طيب, تمام. So that was seen. Now let's move to the sister, which is sheen. How to write it? The same shape. Just on the top, I will put 3 dots. تمام? Sound wise, it's sh sound, same as the sh in English. Sheen, sh. أمثلة for sheen. There is a word that always in my mind because a lot of people ask me about it, which is shabab. Shabab. Because this is how you say guys in Arabic, especially in Masri. Shabab, or usually ya shabab. Ya shabab, like hey guys. Literally, what does it mean? Shabab means young or youth people. And it's the most common way how to say, hey guys, ya shabab. Focus on the writing now. It should be now getting easier for you. Because if you notice here, all of those letters we already covered. Sheen, ba, alif, ba. تمام? مثال تاني for sheen. Sheen as in the word shajara. Shajara. Shajara means tree. Of course, Masri it will be shagara. So shagara or shajara is tree. طيب, so that was seen and sheen. And now get ready because always put in mind after sheen we start the deep sounds. So let's get into it. So now look at me how I pronounce it. After the seen, starting from sod, I have to round my lips a little bit. This is how I perfect those deep sounds. So sod, sod, and also dod, sod and dod. Sod and dod. Yalla, let's go for sod. It's exactly the same as seen but deeper. So. So seen was sa sa sa. Sod is so. طيب, how to write sod? I usually start from this side here and eventually I go down with the belly. تمام? So let's try again. And of course dod is the same way. I'm just gonna put 1 dot on the top. This is for dod. طيب يلا أمثلة for صاد. صاد as in the very important word صبر. صبر. صبر means patience. صبر. So you see how I make it? It's not sa, it's sa. صبر. Should be getting more clear in your mind now because all the letters we covered. صاد and then ba and then ra. I'm doing it on purpose, trying as much as I can to bring you words with letters we covered already to be extra practice, you know? طيب تمام. صبر is patience. مثال تاني, another example for صاد. I'm sure you know it by now how to say Egypt is مصر. مصر. ميم صاد راء. By the way, in فصحى it's pronounced مصر. It's the same word, the only difference is just the تشكيل. It's ما in slang مصر. In فصحى it's me with كسرة مصر. طيب تمام. So that's a good one for you. So that means مصر or مصري, Egyptian for example. We write it with صاد, not with سين. مصر. What about the next one? ضاد. It's very important letter, very important حرف. You can even imagine that the nickname for the Arabic language is لغة الضاد because this sound only exists in Arabic. ضاد. It's heavy D. ضا ضا ضا. Let's see it in a word. ضاد as in ضباب. ضباب. ضباب means fog. ضباب. So you see, deeper. ضباب. Let's see it at the end. ضاد as in أبيض. أبيض. أبيض means white. أبيض. Again and again, focus on writing. So you see when it was in the beginning, in ضباب, we don't put the belly, we make it over the line, right? And then in أبيض, it's the last letter of the word. So any letter at the end comes back to the original shape. That's the rule, right? So hopefully bit by bit now everything is getting more clear in your mind. That's why I'm doing it very slowly with a lot of examples. At the very end, you'll see the reward. You'll find that it's getting much easier for you to see an Arabic word and read it. طيب يلا بينا now let's recap and put all of them in our beautiful table. First one was seen, same as is in English. It's called seen. أمثلة we said سحر. سحر means magic. And أستاذ or أستاذ in Masri, which means teacher or mister. The sister was sheen, 3 dots on the top. That's the sh sound. أمثلة we said shabab, which means youth, also can be used as guys, ya shabab. And also shajara or shagara in Masri, which means a tree. After sheen we started the deep sounds by صاد and dot, right? صاد, what's the equivalent? As I'm always telling you, no equivalent. It's a new sound. Treat it as such. This is how we develop a good pronunciation. اسم الحرف, the name of the letter is صاد. أمثلة for صاد we said صبر, which means patience, and مصر or مصر. This is Egypt, right? Last letter was ضاد, the most important حرف, لغة الضاد. Equivalent, same story, no equivalent. It's a new sound in Arabic. مثال for ضاد we said ضباب. ضباب means fog. And also we said أبيض. أبيض means white. تمام تمام. So by now you should be very proud of yourself because technically you finished majority of الحروف العربية, the Arabic alphabet. We have only 4 more to go for today, المجموعة الثانية in the second group. But if you finished your drink or your sandwich, you can go and make another one, or even if you feel tired for now, no worries. You can pause the video and continue it later. I just care always about the quality time, right? So do whatever you want to do. Come back fresh and let's continue. Yalla bina. And welcome again to the final part, the final 4 letters in المجموعة الثانية. Remember, we're still in the deep sounds, so most likely the next 4 letters will be new for you, so treat them as such, as I'm always telling you. What are they? So let's go for quick pronunciation. طاء, ظاء, عين, and غين. So now same story as the صاد and the dot. We're still in the deep sounds. So when I want to say طاء, I have to round the lips a little bit. So طاء, طاء, and also ظاء, طاء, and ظاء. Some people consider this ظاء is the deepest sound in the whole Arabic alphabet. ظاء, ظاء. طيب, as usual, let's discuss each individually and see how to write it. Let's start with طاء. You see how I make it? Still rounding lips. طاء, same as the ta we took earlier, but deeper and more round open lips. طاء. طيب, تمام. So how to write طاء? I usually start from the left side here and then I put the stick on the top. So يلا تاني. أمثلة for طاء. Ta as in the word طالب. طالب. You see how I make it? طالب. طالب means student. طيب تمام. So now we know that أستاذ is teacher. We talked it earlier. And now you know also that طالب is student. It's a very strong way of learning, as I'm always telling you, studying the opposites. So طالب and أستاذ, teacher and student. For example, أبيض أسود, black and white, tall and short, and so on. This is how you make your mind remember later. ماشي تمام. Another example, a word that has two ta's in the middle. بطاطس. بطاطس. I'm sure you can get the meaning. It's potatoes. And you see how I make it bata, not bata. Bata, batatis. I believe in writing ta is pretty straightforward, and dha as well, the sister that we're gonna talk about now, because it's already over the line. There is no belly, we don't cut anything, we don't change the shape. So I think it's easy, right? طيب تمام. So that was ta. Let's move to the sister and focus, because this one is very deep. It is dha. Dha, with the tongue out. Dha. How to make it perfectly? My advice, do you remember ذال? It's still the same sound, but we'll use the same technique of rounding the lips. So it will be, instead of the, it will be the. Writing wise, still the same as ta, but I'm gonna put this dot here on the right side of the stick. Some people, they tell me it looks like a mosque. I don't know if you see the same. But anyways, this is how we write it, okay? طيب يلا, let's take أمثلة for the. The as in the word ظفر. ظفر. ظفر means nail. Very important. So ظفري is my nail, for example. Another important word with ظا at the end, and it's also very common, very good practice, everything. It is حظ. حظ. حظ means luck. حظ. Very deep, right? Because it has two new sounds for you, the ha and the ظا. حظ. So keep practicing a lot. حظ. Alright, so you should ask me a question by now. Muhammad, this letter has the tongue out as well. That means in Masri we will not pronounce it like that, right? Absolutely right. How the people simplify it in Masri? Simply no tongue out. So it will be za. Za. Be careful. Still round lips. It's not za, because if it is za, it will be zain. They remember zain? So still round lips, but no tongue out. Za. So for example, if we apply it here in this word حظ, that means luck, it will be in slang حظ. حظ. So you see, فصحى, حظ, مصري, حظ. And sorry again, on a very scary note for you, the in some words will be pronounced as da in Masri. Still no tongue out, not even za sound. It will be dod, like the dod, remember? So for example, the word ظفر that we said earlier, it means nail. In Masri it will be ضفر. ضفر. So you see, ظفر فصحى, ضفر مصري. طيب تمام, خلاص, you know me already by now. You're waiting for the trick, how we can overcome this problem. As I'm always advising you in the beginning, say it as فصحى, say it حظ, say it ظفر, until later with time, if you know how to say it in Masri, that's good. But don't confuse yourself, especially in the beginning, you know. And the good news, there is no much words starting with dha, so you will not really face it a lot, you know. And finally, our last pair in المجموعة الثانية, the second group, are عين and غين. Focus with me with عين because it's very, very important. Now I want you to take a closer look how to properly say this sound, عين, عين, because through my experience is the most sound that takes a lot of time for the learners to get. So عين, عين, smile, stretch your jaw, عين, عين. You remember in Franco-Arabic, عين was number 3, so it looks like number 3 but mirrored in the mirror. However, the belly is a little bit bigger though. So يلا تاني. يلا أمثلة for عين. عين as in the word عادي. عادي. عادي means normal. عادي. عين in the middle as in the word سعر. سعر. سعر means price. You'll tell me, what happened? Where is عين in the middle? That's the point. Very important note. عين in the middle, we close it. So you see in the beginning it's open, and also if it is a standalone at the end, it's open. In the middle, we close it. It looks like a flipped triangle. Perfect example in the word نعناع. نعناع. نعناع means mint. You see in the middle, it's closed. At the end, after alif, so we don't connect it, it's still open, original. So you see? So remember, ayn and ghain, when they are connected from the right, they are closed.
So as I'm telling you, it will take some time. That's normal, but keep practicing. A lot of people in the beginning, they don't really feel it, or a lot of them, they think it's a vowel. Surprise for you, ayn is even a constant. It's not even a vowel. So ayn.
And آخر حرف النهاردة, our last letter today is ghain. Ghain. How to write ghain is exactly the same as ayn, only with one dot on the top. Let's talk about the sound of ghain for a second. It is ghain. Ghain. Vibration.
Rouge. Can you say that? Okay. Now, read this one. Orange. Orange. Can you hear the r sound?
If you speak some languages such as French or German or Greek, so this sound will not be new for you, it's easy. However, if you don't, always the trick I give to my students, because sometimes they confuse the ghain and the kha, I tell them, remember, kha as if something choking in your throat and you want to spit it out. Kha, kha. A little bit same as the snoring sound while sleeping, but just a little bit, not to scare the people around you, okay? However, ghain is like when you are gargling. Ghain, ghain. So you see, kha is a sharp sound. As I'm telling you, I'm spitting something out. Kha, kha. However, ghain is not a sharp sound. It's like rolling sound. Gha, ghain. And it will be more clear now when we see some amthila for ghain. Ghain as in the word gharb. Gharb. Gharb means west. Gharb. So be careful, it's not garb, it is gharb, gharb. And ghain in the middle as in the word shughl, shughl. Shughl means work, shughl. Be careful, as you noticed, ghain is closed as well in the middle, same as ayn. As we agreed before, all the pairs, they have almost the same rules when we write them. And finally, let's go to our table again to fill out those last 4 important letters. The first two were ta and dha. The first one, اسم الحرف, ta, equivalent to. Here you go, bravo, there is no equivalent for it in English, it's a new sound. However, some people write it with number 6 in Franco-Arabi. You can recap my videos about Franco-Arabi if it's still a bit confusing for you. Amthila for ta, we said student is طالب, طالب, and potatoes is batatis, batatis. The sister is dha, also a new sound in Arabic. Amthila, we said ظفر, ظفر, which means nail, and also حظ, حظ means luck. And our final pair in المجموعة الثانية were عين and غين. حرف العين is also a new sound in Arabic, very very important, I can't stress it enough. Usually in Franco-Arabic it's written with number 3. مثال for عين, we said عادي, عادي, which means normal, as well as سعر, سعر, which means price. And الحرف الأخير, the last letter, was غين, غين, also a new sound in Arabic. You see how many new sounds we said today, always very important to recap. غين usually in Franco-Arabic will be GH or 3 with comma. مثال for غين, we said غرب, غرب means west, and also شغل, شغل means work.
And that was the end of our part 2 of الحروف العربية, the Arabic letters. Inshallah, part 3 will be coming soon, so stay tuned. Until next time, keep practicing, stay awesome, and always remember, irada is our key. Salam.